Okay, so for question number 1, we have calcium oxide reacting with sulfur. So an ionic compound reacting with an element. What kind of reaction is this? It's a single replacement. Okay, who is sulfur going to replace in this compound? Oxygen. All right, so that means calcium will end up with sulfur and oxygen will end up by itself. Okay, now we've got to check for special elements. Are there any? Oxygen. Okay, so 1 mark if they've got oxygen like that. Okay, and calcium sulfide, this is a 2+, that's a -2, so that is dropped and swapped correctly. Okay, 1 mark for that. And then we have to balance the whole reaction. All right, there's 8 sulfur over here. I want to start with the biggest number, so I put in 8 there. That gives me 8 calciums over here and 8 oxygens over there. So if they've got those balancing numbers, they can have their 3rd mark. Okay, question number 2. I've got C10H22, okay, with reacting with oxygen. What kind of reaction is that? Combustion. Okay, so 1 mark for carbon dioxide, 1 mark for water. Okay. Then we have to balance the reaction. There are 2 rules for balancing. Do I need them both? Yes, I have an even number of carbons. So I'm going to start with 2 here. That's 20 carbons. So I have a 20 there. 2 times 22 is 44. 22 times 2 is 44. All right, so 20 times 2 is 40. Plus 22 more is 62. Okay, that means I need 31 here. Okay, if that's the balancing numbers they have, that's a mark as well. So out of 3. Questions on the first 2? Okay, our 3rd one, we've got iron 3 hydroxide reacting with sodium phosphate. What kind of reaction is that? Double replacement. All right, so in a double replacement reaction, we simply swap the metals. So that means that sodium ends up with hydroxide and iron ends up with phosphate. Now, I've got to check my drops and swaps on these. Okay, hydroxide's a -1, sodium's a +1, so that compound is okay and does not need brackets. Okay, this one, the iron is a 3+. I know that from this side. Okay, and the phosphate is a 3-, so that compound is also fine the way it is written. Now I've got to balance the whole thing. I would say either start with hydroxide or sodium. It makes no difference which one you start with because that's the only number you need to put in for your 3rd mark. Okay, so 1 mark for sodium hydroxide, 1 mark for iron 3 phosphate, and 1 mark for that balancing. Is what a 9? Okay, on question number 4, I've got phosphorus reacting with nickel. What kind of reaction is that? Synthesis. What kind of compound is that going to make? Ionic, because nickel's a metal. Remember, I played this trick on you on the last quiz. Hopefully I didn't burn you twice. Just fool me once. Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Okay, all right, so this is going to be nickel with phosphorus, okay? And we've got to drop and swap this. So give them 1 mark if they have it in the right order. We'll say that. And then if they get the swap and drop right. Okay, now nickel has more than 1 possible charge. Which one do I pick for this? 2, the most common. Okay, so 2+, so this is going to be Ni3P2, right? So they can have a 2nd mark for that, for having the numbers right. And then we've got to balance the whole thing. We got to balance phosphorus first because it's the biggest number. So a 2 goes here. That gives me 6 nickel. Okay, and I'm done balancing. 1 mark for the balancing. Questions on number 4? They can have a mark for the drop and swap, but not for the order. No. Okay, and question number 5. I've got NH3 as my only reactant. So what kind of reaction is this? It's a decomposition reaction. So that's going to break down into nitrogen and hydrogen, which are both special. 1 mark each for those. And then in order to balance, okay, I'm probably going to want to put a 2 here to balance my nitrogens, and that will give me 6 hydrogens, a 3 there, 1 mark for the balancing. Okay. Everybody with me on that one? Questions on any of them? It's out of 15. So give them a mark out of 15 at the top. Okay, let them see it and then hand them in right here.